Hello, my name is Jessica Dwyer, and I am thrilled to be interviewing for the first grade position at Pewaukee Lake Elementary. I appreciate you sending me the questions so I could prepare for the video. So I will get started. In answering your first question, to tell you a little bit about my educational background and experience, I have a bachelor's degree in biology from Texas Tech University. I didn't realize my love for teaching until much later in life. I have 3 daughters and they all go to the Hamilton School District. While my oldest was in kindergarten, I started volunteering very heavily at the school, and I had let the principal know how I was interested in volunteering or kind of getting my foot in the door there at the school and possibly in the district. And so a few years later, when my 3rd child was, in 4K, I was continuing to volunteer and let it be known that I would like to see if I could go a little further with my volunteer efforts. And so one day I was volunteering in the library, and the principal asked me if I would be interested in doing a part-time paraprofessional position that would be leading with reading groups and just general teacher aid support in the classroom. And so I said yes, and it started out as just 16 hours a week. And the education bug or teaching bug bit me. And so after, I think it was 2 years, I had told her I would like to see what I could do to go further. And I had found out there was a reading interventionist program and a certification class that I could take to become an ERE certified instructor. And that's early reading empowerment. And so she had let me know that I could take that class, and then I would be a certified ERE instructor, and I could get more hours and teach children to learn to read, because that's my passion. I love to teach children to read. And so with that, I took the class. It was it started in October, and I believe I was done in May of that school year. And in that time, I worked with a student that I had to record my lessons and had to turn them in for my certification to make sure that I was doing everything the way it needed to be done and I was following the guidelines. And so after that, after I was certified, my role at Marcy Elementary evolved from just a general ed paraprofessional to a reading interventionist as well. So in that time, during the day, I would work with students from grade levels 5K all the way through 5th grade, and I would be doing general education paraprofessional duties, plus I would be working with first graders that were behind in their reading skills, and so I would pull them and work with them in reading intervention groups. I did that for 3 years. And again, I decided I wanted to go a little further. So I decided to go back to school and get my certification to become a teacher. And I finished my certification program in the spring of 2020. So I was doing my student teaching during when COVID hit, actually. And so my student teaching, part of it was in classroom, and then we had the shutdown, and I did the remainder of my student teaching virtually. It was really interesting student teaching experience. And then after that, I was hired by Germantown School District to teach virtual first grade for their district. It was one other virtual teacher and myself teaching virtually for the district. I had 26 students virtually. And the only reason it was a 1-year contract, and the reason I didn't return is because of that. It was a 1-year contract, and there was not an opening in the district for me after that year. This past year, I worked at Merton Community School District in the Merton Primary School, and I taught 5K. And I have decided to not return there. I did enjoy teaching 5K, but it just was not necessarily a good fit for me. Now moving on to the next question, goals of a first grader for the first grade year. There's academic goals and social goals. I believe that academically, students in first grade need to become independent thinkers and learners, independent in their reading and math skills. improving their phonic and phonemic awareness, and then building reading comprehension as well. They need to not just read the text, they need to understand what they're reading and be able to answer questions about it using pictures for clues, or just definitely using the text to answer questions and to broaden their thinking about what they have read. Now, as far as social skills, they're growing a lot in first grade. They're learning how to be a more social person and more interactive with their peers and with adults. So they need to start developing a sense of independence and self-confidence. They should be able to follow rules and follow instructions. They should also be able to engage in constructive conversations and constructive play with their peers. Your next question, let's see, how to establish a positive classroom environment. This last year at Merton, I feel like my classroom was a very positive classroom. All of my students got along. There was not any major issues with behavior. I will say, though, the first days and weeks of the school year are vital to developing a positive classroom environment. You need to work with your students and you need to get to know them. They need to get to know you. You need to build trust with them. You need to encourage relationship building in the first few days and weeks of the school year. You can do this by having fun activities, getting to know you activities. This last year, I had a morning meeting where they all took home a poster to work with their parents, and they would bring it in, and then they would tell us about their poster. They would point out their favorite things to do and who was in their family and all of that sort of thing, so they got to know each other, and then they could answer questions, and they could see who else in the class might have the same interests or the same interests. So, or maybe the same pets or whatever, you know what I mean. So, then also you need to make sure you're using clear communication with the students, using humor a lot in class and making learning fun and getting to know each other fun. We use games to get to know each other and just build relationships. Also, clear communication and letting them help you with the classroom rules is a way to build trust, and they will understand that, hey, this isn't just the teacher telling me how it's going to be. I have a voice in this class and I get to say what I think, and so we'll vote on what rules are the appropriate rules for our class and go on from there. So the next question would be, how do you support students? Well, I believe in order to support your students, and you need to realize that they are all individuals and they all have individual learning needs. You need to be able, or I need to be able to, or any teacher needs to be able to get them engaged into learning, and this is done through differentiating your lessons. So you need to get to know what their needs are by asking questions. Learning about them is your job, and finding out what they like, what they struggle with, and what their strengths would be, so you can make their learning more proficient for them. You want to use meaningful real-life context for their learning so they can connect and say, oh, I understand. One time that happened to me too. I had a lot of that this year, a lot of kindergarten discussions about me too, me too. And then also using their prior knowledge that goes along with real-life experience as well. Like I had said earlier, making it fun and engaging. It's not going to be easy to learn if they're not enjoying themselves. So I also discussed differentiating lessons. So you're going to have all different kinds of levels of learners, and you need to make your lessons differentiated to meet those different levels of learners. I also promote critical thinking. I ask questions, open-ended questions, asking them, why do you think that? What makes you feel that way? And so then I ask them those questions, and I also encourage them to ask questions. The only way they're going to learn is by thinking outside the box and thinking, I wonder why that is. Why do you think, Mrs. Dwyer? Can you tell me more? And so I really encourage questions to be asked and have them think outside the box. My proudest moment as a teacher, I've had a few, but the most recent would be this past year. I was having a student, she was really struggling to learn her sight words. I wasn't sure if it was just she wasn't getting the extra help at home or if she was having a memory issue. When I would assess her, it was inconsistent. Some days she would know the words, and other days it would be like she had totally forgot the words. And so I talked to the parents about what we might be able to do, and talked to her about, just because you don't know it now, it's okay. Everybody learns at their own pace. I am a firm believer in Carol Dweck's theory of not yet, and using your grit to finish a task or learn something. And so I explained to her, which I had already taught, but I reminded her, just because you don't know it yet doesn't mean you can't learn it. You just aren't there yet. Everybody learns at their own pace. We just need to keep practicing and working hard to reach those goals. And so, like I said, I talked to her parents, and we just decided to send home some sight word games, and they said that they would play them with her. And in a few weeks, when I assessed her again, she was so thrilled that she remembered the words and that she knew all of them. She was thrilled. And so it was really pleasing to see that I was able to help her and get her through a tough time of feeling like, why can't I get it? Everybody else in the class is understanding this. Why can't I? And so I would say that's my most recent proud moment, is seeing her glow from being so down and feeling like she can't do it. Why can everybody else do it and she can't? Going from that to just a few weeks later being ecstatic that she got it, and she was glowing about it, and she was thrilled, and she knew, hey, I can do this, and if I just keep working and trying, I can get it done. Well, I hope that answers all of your questions, and I look forward to hearing from you and going further in the interview process. I would be thrilled to work at Pewaukee Lake, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.